All right, Cindy's in the house.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm messy because I came from the beach. It was 80 degrees in Wisconsin, and we take advantage of that here.
Okay.
So
Cindy, really quickly, since this is recorded,
and I'm
it's
nervous.
going really quickly, Cindy, since this is recorded and may be reused again, do I have your permission to have this conversation with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you got for me?
Okay, what I have for you is I'm in an 8-month long distance relationship. The distance is approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes. We share that every other weekend.
Okay. I'm writing this down. Okay.
Oh, sure. I know. I understand. You have all the details. We are entering conversations of moving together. It's a little scary. We're trying to move possibly somewhere in the middle of that distance because we are concerned about our families.
Okay. Okay.
We have very similar values. We click in all the ways that you just described about your relationship, but there are some differences that I'm concerned about, which we have talked about, but I think until you're actually in it, you don't know.
Okay.
He is a vapor. I don't care for that at all. He knows that. He's trying to quit. I expect that to be done outside.
Okay.
I feel like it's done outside here, but it's a little different at his place. That is a big concern, and I don't like this at all. And I'm like, the other thing is, and I know
when
you
you say you don't
about,
like it, Cindy, really quickly, when you say you don't like it, do you don't like it from a smell perspective? You don't like it from a health perspective? What is the core piece that you don't like? Just so I understand.
The core piece is more health related. I am a very health focused person. I'm a vegetarian. I take very good care of myself. I see that as actually putting poison into your body. So yeah, that's a huge, but I also have done a lot of work, a lot of self-help, and try not to judge people for things that like that. I've been very harsh and judgmental a good portion of my life, and I don't think that you should rule people out for that. Yet it's a very big difference.
Okay,
so I don't want it around me.
Okay, so what we're really talking about is a value difference for you, just so I have clarity around that. Okay.
Definitely.
So what else?
An excellent person in all.
Okay. So what would you like help from me? Like, where do you want to take this conversation?
Well, we are having a very deep conversation this upcoming weekend about finances and exactly who has what, because we kind of know, but we need to lay our financial cards on the table.
Okay.
I feel like
Very
this
important.
needs to be an important. Yeah. And we've had this conversation around vaping, but I really feel like I need to reiterate it, not in order to beat him up or to expect him to quit, because you can't make people do things. I understand that. But I also need to be respected in my house, if that's our house, and not have that happen.
Sure. And I know many people,
so it's a big.
Yeah. Vaping is a little different than actual cigarette smoking, as an example, just because there's more smell associated with it and toxicity and that sort of thing. But I understand your point of view. So are you looking for help from me on how to have that conversation with him, or whether or not you should have that conversation? It sounds like you've spoken to him about it.
I have, and I know I have to have the conversation. And actually, his argument, and this is true, it does not stink. The smoke kind of dissipates. I still just do not want it around me. I do not want that chemical around me. So
okay.
I
Now,
guess
is this an app? let me ask you this. Is this an absolute deal breaker for you?
It was when I started, and I didn't know that he did it, even though I had on there no smoking. He views it slightly differently. He does respect my boundaries here at my apartment, and he does not vape in here.
Okay.
I have to have that, like, I don't want to say I have to have a written agreement, but pretty darn close. And
Okay.
I guess as I speak this, I'm looking at you as a professional, and I'm looking for you to say, this is a pretty big thing, or it's something that can be overcome. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know.
okay. And again,
It's just because we really,
let me just be clear in answering this question. To the extent that I'm some sort of therapist or professional, I don't come from that kind of background, but I have my own perceptions about and I have some thoughts that I'll share with you in a moment. Now, really quickly, Pam says, I won't move in yet. Not at all. I believe it's too soon. So she's sharing her opinion. Jerry's asking, is it a deal breaker? We just discussed that. And Pam goes on to say, I think it's too soon to move. If you can't look the other way and accept him as he is, okay, don't think you do. So anyway, just want you to, I wanted to share what a few other people are saying. So as far as timing on moving in together,
thank you.
I want to address that first, because here's the thing. Whether you moved in together tomorrow or you moved in together 2 years from now, I don't believe it changes the trajectory of your relationship, the time of moving in. It's been 8 months. You've seen each other regularly. You've spent time in each other's home. You're in the process of discussing the financial components of all this, which are all the pieces of the puzzle. And I suspect that this would most likely happen in the next, 2 months to 6 months, versus it's not going to happen day after tomorrow.
No,
Certainly, if you picked a place
no,
in
we're
between.
actually talking.
Huh? What?
I was just going to interject and say that we're actually talking about doing it approximately a year from now. We are not rushing into this.
Okay. And to some degree, okay. So with that said, which, would be approximately a year and a half or so into your relationship, I don't see from, I wouldn't be concerned if anyone judged you. And certainly my perception is, if I said this earlier in the video, if you're going to fail fast. And what I mean to say, if it's not going to work out, sooner to find that out, the better. And I think living together is one of those things. Okay. With that said, I think the way I would approach the vaping is to simply say to my partner, I don't know his name. I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing it, but let's say you were speaking to me and you could say something along these lines. Jonathan, one of the most important values in my life is health. And that is because, I'm at an age where, particularly in my romantic relationship, in my relationship with you, I would like us to live a fairly long time together. Particularly because I just, I think, I'd rather not have a short-lived relationship. I'd have a relationship that has some longevity to it, some legs to it. And I believe vaping is unhealthy from a physical standpoint, that it affects your lungs, that affects your heart, that affects parts of your body, that will diminish your life. So from a value-based perception, I would really appreciate, for the health of our relationship, is that something you could either cut back completely or diminish it substantially before we consider moving in together? Because I'm not sure I want to invest much more into this relationship, because I'm not looking to be someone's nurse at some point, and have and see how he responds to that. Now, I don't know I would do my research first to find out the health ramifications for vaping. I'd want to know I'd want to spend some time, if that's the discussion you're going to have with him, I'd want to do some homework, some research on what vaping does to your physical body, so you can actually have some legitimate, because if he comes back and says every study shows vaping doesn't affect you, well, then you really have no argument other than you have a judgment around vaping because you don't do it. Well, that's not the same as a value. That's a judgment. So I'm just saying, right. I don't know enough right. about vaping to know either way. But if I were you, I'd do my homework before I have this conversation with them. Now, Paltry seems to point out, I think she's getting cold feet and she's using vaping as an out. That's an interesting perspective, Paltry.
No.
And well, I can understand that you're looking for something. I mean, some people are addicted to drama. Paltry, Cindy, I'm not suggesting that for you. But some people are looking for things to pick at because they're more addicted to the drama. And again, I'm not suggesting that for you. But if you're going to have a heart-centered conversation, and just remember, if it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, you know?
Right.
So
and
how does what I just shared
that conversation? Right?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty much along the lines of what I was going to say. I have done research. Vaping to me is just as bad as cigarettes. It doesn't smell.
Wait. Wait. Time out.
It looks like little.
Okay, really quickly. You said it's the same to you. I don't, but that's not that's a perception on your part. I'm not suggesting you're right or wrong, but you're saying it's the same to me. But it's not the same, because smoking actually has smoke and it gets in your clothes and it gets in your body. I don't know if vaping does the same. So they're not the same.
That would be his argument. Yeah. His argument would be that it doesn't smell. And he said that.
Hey, Google. Is vaping as dangerous as smoking? Let's see what it says. I'm just curious.
Vaping is not as dangerous as smoking, but it is
so
not
am I now that you did it.
Vaping exposes you to fewer toxic chemicals than traditional cigarettes, which contain over 7,000 chemicals, many of which are poisonous. However, vaping aerosol contains harmful substances, including nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing chemicals.
So, I mean, this is just what just on a quick research. Witty Mystic says that the American Heart Association said vaping is not good for your heart. So again, if you have written documentation when you have this conversation, then if he trivializes it, then you have to ask yourself, if he doesn't value your needs, if he doesn't acknowledge your needs, then you got to really then look at, does this person really genuinely care about the longevity of the relationship versus he's just enjoying the time it is right now? Because here's the thing. Again, this is a big enough subject where I could see this being a deal breaker. I mean, I could see this. And when I say a deal breaker, a must have, meaning being with someone who doesn't share this with you. You had an opportunity to address this months and months and months ago. Sounds like you didn't know it right off the bat. You did what?
I did address it initially. I did have the conversation with him initially. I said that was clearly on my bio. And he said, well, you didn't, or he does think vaping is a little bit different.
Even what I came up with, it is different compared to smoking. So from his vantage point, but at some point you knew about this months and months and months ago. So, the fact that you've allowed it on some, like you didn't make it a deal breaker then, I'm inviting you to really ask yourself, because do you want to stay in a relation, and it's okay. You can stay in this relationship, but just recognize that if this is something that he doesn't want to change, then you either accept it or you move on, because that is on you. But if you're coming to me and saying, well, Jonathan, he has to change for me to love him, then that's not a recipe for relationship success.
Nope. I'm not there. I'm not of that belief at all. In fact, I have been very accepting of it because all of the other qualities and the quality of the relationship, which I didn't really explain, is everything that I've always wanted. This just
So
happens to
again,
be part of him
I
that I
would
don't
lay
care for.
I would lay your facts out as to, and I would have as many facts as possible to say this is important to me from a health value. Um, and Witty Mystic says, well, maybe you shouldn't live together. I mean, you could certainly do this, but an hour and a half is a long drive, or hour and three quarters, I should say. That can wear on you, and it doesn't really allow for, here's my thing is, it doesn't allow for spontaneity. It doesn't allow for genuine support. So I can understand your desire to live together. The fact that you're going to wait for a year, this is all about how to speak your truth. And my invitation for you to do it first, do your research first, come from a place of heart, come from a place of understanding how important it is to them. Say, I understand this has been a part of your life and it's important to you, but also, if eating, if eating chocolate every single day, not chocolate, but if eating ice cream every day got you fat, would you do it? Like, this isn't healthy. And I think you have a very valid, not argument, but you have a valid point to say, this isn't good for your health. And if it's not good for your health, if I was doing something unhealthy, how would you respond to that? Invite him, come from a place of curiosity. If I was doing something healthy, wouldn't you be protective of me? This is me being protective of you.
I like that. That's an excellent point that you ended that. So thank you.
All right, Cindy. Well, thanks for jumping on. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. It was scary.
Okay. Well, I hope keep us posted and let us know. I'm going to clip this and post it again. So keep us posted and let us know how it goes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much. All right. So Cindy just shared with us something very important, very valuable, and that is how to have a difficult conversation. In this particular case, something's come up in her life that feels like a deal breaker, certainly related to the smoking or the vaping, excuse me. And this conversation was how to have the difficult conversation. First, I recommended she do her research before she has this conversation. Next, I would say when you open up the conversation, come from a place of love, come from a place of understanding. Start with understanding why that is important to him. Okay, because this is something he's become accustomed to. Most likely there is some addiction on his part. I mean, I would certainly try to ascertain what that might be. I know for each person it's different. It might be he just needs to switch to sucking on a lollipop instead. I don't know if that's the case. Come from a place of need. In other words, her need is the value around health, and come from that heart-centered space. And then hopefully he creates a dialogue with her. If he dismisses her, then I would be really concerned about what else in her life he would dismiss. And so from that vantage point, I genuinely hope he comes from a place of love, a place of understanding. And if they do choose to live together, let's hope he's weaned himself over the next year before that occurs. By the way, I'd love to hear what you thought about what I shared with her. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. By the way, if you had value from this conversation, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Follow me on Instagram. Get all the books I recommend. They're all listed below. And Pammy says to Cindy, best of luck. We all, even Liz is giving you a thumbs up, okay? Hey, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank everyone that joined us live. And certainly I want to thank Cindy as well. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful evening. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.